Hello everybody, Aisha Catalano here. I'm posting this video in response to an article that I've read and that I've seen posted about on Facebook most recently regarding the closing of several schools in Philadelphia. As a former educator, certified in teacher leadership, it came as a terrible shock. It was just heartbreaking. The article was basically talking about the closing of upwards of 20 schools in the city, 23 or 25. I'm not quite sure the exact number, but too many, if you ask me. It came as a shock to many when I decided to leave the field in 2010. The decision was based on a number of things. There was a change in the field, a change in leadership, just a number of things that I could just no longer sit idly by and be a part of. I'll give you an example. I was at a school that I absolutely loved. It was an inner city school in a very troubled neighborhood. However, the school was absolutely amazing. We made AYP several years in a row, and the school really was a diamond in the rough. The school has since closed down, but back then in 2010, a neighboring middle school was closed. So the school where I was, that was from kindergarten to fifth grade, like I said, it was an amazing place to be, amazing school, amazing place to work. Once that middle school was closed, the school where I was now forced to go from K to 8. And when you think of an elementary school catering to students from kindergarten to fifth grade, you change the dynamic a lot when you add middle school students to that K to 5 situation. So of course it came with a lot of apprehension and a lot of concern for the younger students, of course, as well as for those older students, and just for the quality of education that we would be able to provide. Many of the teachers took it in stride, and we all thought that, we could just make the best of a difficult situation, and I was fully committed and on board as a teacher mentor. In addition to catering to my own students, I was held responsible for a small group of new teachers, new to the field, as well as new to the school where I was. So I was fully committed to success in that building, as well as just in the field of education in general. So I was invited to participate in a roundtable with several other teachers in the field, as well as the superintendent. And I had gone to the meeting with a number of questions and concerns that I had in terms of how those changes would affect our school and many others in the area going forward, because we weren't the only school that was elementary from K to 5 and then forced to add middle school students to the mix. My ultimate decision to leave the field came as a result of that one conversation with the administrator and with other educators that particular day. Once the middle school students were sent to our building, we did not receive desks to fit them. We didn't have any additional books. We didn't have chairs for them to sit on. When you think of the size of a third, fourth, or fifth grader, it differs vastly from the typical eighth grader in this day and age, especially when students are being held back. We had students that were 14 and 15 years old in the eighth grade, and expecting for them to be comfortable and learn in a chair that was originally for a third, fourth, or fifth grader. We're just asking for trouble. And when I brought up just that particular aspect, not even some of the other dynamics that come into play in that type of situation, I was just asking about the basics: chairs and desks. The superintendent looked at me and she said, yeah, well, we hadn't really thought about that at the time. And I asked in complete shock, well, is this a permanent change, or was this just temporary based on some things that we as teachers do not know about? Will there be a shift back to the separation in elementary and middle school students? Because I firmly believe that at a middle school age you need your own environment conducive to the changes that you're experiencing, that kindergarten through fifth graders, should not necessarily be privy to experiencing. And that was my question. Is this a permanent change, or are things going to go back to the separation? And her answer was shocking. It was something to the effect of, we haven't gotten to that point yet, and I'm not really sure. So to go from, you didn't even think about adding chairs and desks to the schools that they would be attending, to, yeah, we don't even know what the heck's going to happen, in the next couple of years. It was kind of like a who knows kind of situation. And that was the moment when I decided that I wasn't going to go down with the ship. I decided that I had to remove myself from the situation, because I felt that, if you're not part of the solution, you become a part of the problem. So that was my decision, and my heart is very much still connected to education, even in my primary business opportunity now. I have an educator's heart, so I'm always looking to inform, to share information, and to just be a lifelong learner and a lifelong educator. So when I read the article, like I said, I was just completely heartbroken at not only the closing of those schools, but the choice that the state of Pennsylvania made. And for those of you who did not read the article, it was basically a toss-up between building a prison, or doing some additions or something like that to an existing prison, or putting that money into education. And like I said, I was just absolutely heartbroken that the focus of the state wasn't to put some of those funds into new schools, into new buildings, into books, things that will build us up as a community. But instead of putting that $400 million into education, the decision was to move it into the prison system. So that just says a lot about where the government officials feel we're going in the future. I guess they figure they've already screwed it up enough, so chances are those students are ultimately going to end up somewhere in the prison system anyway. So that was absolutely heartbreaking. And part of this video is really to just charge all of you to be active in your local government, in the decision making. I know there's such a limit to the power that we have and the say that we have, but there are so many people who just don't know what's going on and don't know what to do or how they can help. And the first thing that needs to be done is that we all need to continue educating ourselves on what is happening in our cities. I no longer even live in Pennsylvania, but I'm very much, concerned about what's happening there. I mean, I still have family members there, still have young relatives who are in the school system in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's very important to me to just stay aware. And for those of you who don't live in Pennsylvania and could, care less about what's happening there, just pay attention to what's happening where you live, because if it happens in places like Chicago, in places like Philadelphia, then it could definitely be happening in a city near you. If not today, then very soon. And my heart breaks for the students and for the teachers. Educators pour so much of themselves into their career. I mean, it's one of those things. It used to infuriate me as a teacher when my associates or friends would say, oh, well, you guys get the summer off, as if, we didn't deserve it. I mean, most people think we're at school from 9 o'clock until 3 o'clock, and, the rest of our life is just peachy keen, when it isn't. Chances are, you take a lot of work home with you, if not physically, mentally, because you're constantly thinking about your students and ways to improve. As an educator, you're so involved in their lives. I mean, for years, I can absolutely tell you that I spent more hours with my students than many of their parents did, more hours awake with my students than their parents did. So that just says a lot to, the amount of time that we're pouring into young lives. So, my heart breaks for the teachers affected by the closing of those schools, and just for the city in general. It's definitely time for folks to just take back control of so many different things. Take back the control of the education of the children in your families, in your community. Take back control of your professional situation for educators. As I said, I left the field in 2010, and it was actually to pursue some other endeavors. I felt like I had so much to give. I wanted to do so many things, and I was so limited because most of my hours were spent either in my classroom or doing something related to my profession, and I had so many other gifts and talents that I wanted to use. So I started a home-based business, and I can tell you that it was the absolute best thing that I could have done for myself and for my family. And for all of the educators out there, once you're an educator, that's something that you always do. It's not a career, it's more of a way of life. And I definitely want to throw that out there to all of you who were affected by the closing of those schools, to start thinking about what this means for you and what this means for your family, because it's obvious that the government does not care at all whatsoever. And I can tell you that there are so many benefits to a home-based business or taking control of your financial future. I mean, I can't even list them all, just to name a few. Of course, everybody knows the obvious, the financial freedom that comes along with that. As an educator, I can tell you that I was not compensated for the quality of work that I delivered, for so many things that I brought to the table, and I don't think educators will ever be compensated as well as they ought to be until they start earning incomes like the professional athletes or entertainers of the world. And that's just my humble opinion, but I feel that for what we do, for the way that we impact lives and ultimately shape the future, I don't feel that we will ever be compensated for all that we give to the world. So for me, to leave the field of education, something that I was so passionate about, it was very important for me to pursue a career path that I thought would allow me to earn what I felt like I deserved. And for those of you who, again, are affected by those closing schools or, any area of that situation, I charge you to start doing your research. Do your due diligence. Even if you weren't affected, put something in place in the background. Set your plan B up, because you never know. And I actually did that prior to deciding to leave the field. And once I did, I was already set up to maintain my standard of living for the next couple of months. I wanted to see what it would be like to just be out there on my own as a network marketer and as a business owner. So I actually used the business opportunity to save for several months before ultimately deciding that that was going to be the end for me. And it's been smooth sailing from that point forward. So I charge you to, set something up in the background so that you can just get a taste of what's out there. Not saying that you need to quit your job. If that's what you decide to do once you're financially able to do so, then by all means, more power to you and you're a success. But definitely put something in the background that just shows you what the other side of life is like in regard to, to earning what you're worth. Another thing that I want to put out there in terms of, my decision to leave the field of education was the time freedom. As I said, we spend so much time as educators either in your classroom or grading papers or talking to parents or doing professional development. So many things that consume so much time, and then we're expected to cram the entire rest of our life into June, July, and August. It just doesn't, work that way. And once I decided that that was no longer what I wanted to do, it was very important to me to have something that allowed me to experience time freedom, to be able to live my life on my own terms. And for those of you with families, isn't that what it's all about? To be able to, have financial freedom, but also time freedom. Sometimes individuals have a whole lot of money, but not a lot of time, or a whole lot of time on their hands, but not a lot of money, or enough money to live life as they so see fit. So one of the blessings and the benefits of starting business for yourself or being in a home-based business allows you the opportunity, again, to experience that time freedom and financial freedom. You really do get to have it all, or you get to at least work for it on a part-time basis until it becomes your full-time situation and the norm for your life. Another thing that really drew me to business ownership for myself in the form of network marketing was the personal and professional development and discretion. And I say discretion meaning I am now able to work with the people that I honestly choose to work with. In education, that's just not the case. You can't pick your students, you don't get to choose your coworkers, and you're pretty much just under that umbrella of a corporate structure. I always hear so many things about, the pyramid structure of multi-level marketing businesses or direct sales or things like that. You can't tell me a business or a company or anything of that nature that doesn't have someone in charge at the top, a few decision makers under them, a few supervisors under those people, and then everybody else below. It just doesn't exist unless you are a business owner with no employees and you're a one-man show doing it all yourself. Everything pretty much follows some type of structure, usually the same type of structure as a network marketing or direct sales business. One key difference is that with any other type of job or business, usually the folks at the top do not pour into you in the same way, because they feel like if they give you all of their information, then there's always that thought in the back of their minds that you're gunning for their position, or that it takes away from what they have or what they are doing in order to support you or to give you information that will allow you to become successful. And in the direct sales or network marketing industry, that's just not the case. The folks who are above you in position are only there probably because they saw the information before you did. What people don't understand is that when you sponsor an individual into your business as a network marketer, that person can absolutely supersede what you've done. So, there's nothing wrong with that at all. In essence, we want that to happen. We want to tell you absolutely everything that we know, absolutely everything that we've done, because ultimately your success is our success as well. So if I sponsor someone into my business and they're smarter than I am, they're a harder worker than I am, they're better than I am, they're faster than I am, that is A-okay with me, because ultimately, their success is my success as well. And you're not going to find that in corporate America or in any type of job situation. And also, you're able to put your time wherever you see fit. If I have individuals on my team who choose not to do the things that it takes to be successful, I don't have to spend my time there. I can choose to work with the individuals who are going to put the time and work in that it takes to be successful. And as also for myself in the business, I don't have to just be under the tutelage and leadership of the folks who are directly above me. I can find any successful individual in my company or in any other company to work with them and to be under their mentorship and under their leadership and learn from them. I can work with whomever I choose to in whatever capacity that I choose to. I'm no longer bound by my position or my title or anything like that. Which is completely opposite the situation that I experienced as an educator. Another thing that attracted me to wanting to be in business ownership for myself and ultimately leave the field of education was the personal development. A lot of times people they just don't see that part of it. They assume that, the business opportunity is just all about money, it's all about the glitz and the glam, or it's all about the products and the services and the juice and the vitamins and the whatever. But they don't see that there's so much personal development that is available to you in the network marketing industry. Once your mind expands, as the quote says, it never goes back to its former shape. And once you expose yourself to all of the personal development that's out there, you're definitely not the same person that you were prior to. And I can tell you that that's absolutely been the case for me in my business opportunity. I am a much better professional. I'm a much better leader. I'm a much better wife as a result of the mentorship and leadership that I experienced in this field. And I know that some of those things were just not the case in terms of, my role as an educator in the school district of Philadelphia. Nobody was pouring into my life, really showing me how to be a better person, which is sad because I was responsible for a whole lot of children and a whole lot of educators. And I'm the type of person to pursue that sort of thing for myself. But if I wasn't, then again, it just wasn't available to me as an educator. So that was another thing that just attracted me to the network marketing and direct sales industry, because I wanted to grow more as a person and I wanted to be able to give more as a professional. And another thing that really was the icing on the cake for me was the residual income. I talked a lot about, not being paid what you're worth as an educator. But when I was truly exposed to the possibility of doing something one time, just one time, and earning income for that one task that I performed, over and over and over and over and over, month after month after month. I'm still being paid on customers that I obtained years ago when I got into the business. And to have all of this come in the package of willable income is absolutely amazing. My husband and I don't have children yet, but we plan to in the future, and it was very important to me to be able to have something to leave them, because nobody in my family's ever left me anything, and to know that I can leave them my ending income. So everything that I accomplish in this industry, everything that I accomplish in this company, if something were to happen to me, my children would be able to take on my very last, place of income in this industry, no matter what that is, no matter how large that is. And they will continue to earn the income based on the stuff that I'm doing today. So to know that the decisions that I'm making right now are going to have such an impact on my children and my children's children, that just wasn't available to me, as a school district employee or any employee. I can't tell you a job that anyone has that you can will to your children. So to, have this type of opportunity available, it was very important to me to take it seriously. So that was my decision in terms of, leaving the school district. And I'm so glad that I did, because my heart is broken. And to know that I'm under the leadership of individuals like Sharice and Stan Richards, who have an organization that's doing so much for the inner city of the DC area, to know that, I'm now earning income where a few years from now I can start a nonprofit organization to be able to give back to the schools or the children in Philadelphia, to be able to do so much more. That just would not have been available to me had I stayed in that situation. I'll never forget an inbox that I received a few years ago. It was regarding something that I posted on my Facebook page, and I got an inbox that said, everything isn't always about your business opportunity, or everything isn't always about whatever it is I was talking about, and it was probably my business. And to that person, I responded like, hell it isn't. I don't know too many things that cannot be solved with financial freedom and time freedom. Like I said, I could never have been in a position to do anything for the city of Philadelphia as a school district employee with the limited amount of income that I was earning. But now that I'm in a position, again, to be earning income that supersedes what I earned as a classroom teacher, to know that, I'm able to get the information that I need to start a nonprofit organization, if that's what I choose to do. Again, that just wasn't the case for me, or it would not have been the case for me had I stayed in the box of school district employee. So to anyone who is thinking the same thing, yes, this article is about my business opportunity, or any business opportunity. I don't care what it is you choose to do as an educator, or as any type of school district employee. I charge you all to come up with a plan B. Whether you join my business opportunity or you don't, find something, because the government isn't going to do it for you. We can't just sit idly by on our hands and wait for anybody else to do anything for us. You absolutely have to go out there and make it happen for yourself. So I hope this video shed some light for those of you who were wondering why I was no longer teaching. I had so many, people who have been inboxing me and wondering, what I was going to do about it. While I'm no longer a classroom teacher in the city of Philadelphia, there's definitely much to be said and done about the current situation in Philadelphia. So rest assured that I'm going to continue building my business opportunities so that I can be in a better position, not just to help the school district of Philadelphia, but all children who deserve quality education, because after all, if we don't pour into them, we are ultimately going to suffer, as they are the next generation. And for any of you who would like to keep in touch with me, feel free to visit my website, www.workwithish.biz. That's www.workwithish.biz. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a blessed day, everybody.